The CDC is expected to announce new recommendations for critical workers who have been exposed to the virus but are showing no symptoms. Janelle Bluta now breaks down what we know so far about that.
So this new policy is aimed at workers in critical jobs, hoping to loosen back to work guidelines for those who self-isolate. Information from the Associated Press says this will make it easier for those who have been exposed to coronavirus to return to work if they have no symptoms. Under the new guidance, people who are exposed to someone infected would be allowed back on the job if they are asymptomatic. They test their temperature twice a day and wear a face mask. The exact details are not yet clear, but the guidance would follow recommendations by the CDC that eased self-isolation requirements for frontline medical workers who were exposed to the virus. Under CDC guidance, medical workers who have been exposed to the virus without protective equipment but who have no symptoms can return to work with a mask and temperature checks after 14 days. This comes as the Trump administration is eyeing what it calls a stabilization in infection rates and looks towards rolling back some of the restrictive social distancing guidelines and restarting the nation's stalled economy. Once again, we expect to learn more about the details of these recommendations from the White House very soon. In Houston, Janelle Bluta, KHOU 11 News.